Welcome back again to my channel. In this tutorial, I'm gonna show you how to solve one of the most frustrating issues in Maya, especially for the new beginners. So which is about removing noise in your scene. It took me a very long time before I could figure out how to deal with this, because in many cases, you see, people, they will be adjusting different places to get rid of a noise that is coming from somewhere else. So in this video, I'm going to show you not just how to get rid of the noise, but how to identify exactly where that noise is coming from. So stick around to the end of this video. After I show you how to deal with everything, then I'm gonna show you a little trick that you can use to identify the source of every noise. So let's get into Maya. This is the scene that we're gonna be working with. I chose this scene like this so that because it has a lot of different materials which represents different source of noise, and which is exactly how most scenes look like for those who struggle with this kind of situation. So that's why I chose this, because we have specular highlights, we have shadow noise, we have SSS noise, we have different kinds of noise coming from different places. And I will show you how to identify them and get rid of them without increasing your render time whatsoever. So let's take a render to see. You can see immediately, you can see there's noise all over the place. And you see we have this background noise here, we have shadow noise, we have this kind of translucent kind of noise, and this is diffuse noise and stuff like that. So let's start taking them one by one. First thing we're gonna do is, when your scene is like this, of course, the first place people will run to is you go to your render settings. Let's try to increase this one to make it 3, and let's see how far the noise will go away. You see, immediately we do that, you can see our render time has really is starting to go up. So as you can see right now, the noise, most of the noise has really gone away, but it's still there because this is not how a good scene should look like. Now, I'm gonna stop that, and let's start from something around here like this. So what we're gonna do is, let me grab this one, render region, and we're gonna do something like this. Okay, actually let's do it here. So I'll show you the difference between reducing diffuse noise and some specular noise here. So let's go back to our render settings here. So what we're gonna do now is, let's try to reduce the noise here, and you see that the noise here will remain the same. So for this one, what we can do now is, let's try to increase the specular settings here. So you can see our noise here is gradually going away. If you look closely, you can see here, this render region is much smoother than here, but here remains the same. Even though we're increasing our settings here remains the same. There's no change. So let's increase this one again, and see, you can see how smoother our diffuse noise will go away. Why our specular noise will go away, while the diffuse is still the way it is. See, it's beginning to increase our render time quite a bit. So you can see now our noise here is almost gone. But I can tell you this noise is not just coming from here, and I will tell you why and how to fix it and get it even smoother. But you can see it's different from here. Now what we can do is let's see how to reduce this kind of noise here. So what we can do is let's bring back our diffuse, our specular, and let's try to increase our diffuse. Let's leave it at like 6. You see now we are getting rid of some of the noise here. This is getting better than before. So you can see that the problem when you have this kind of noise and this kind of noise is the noise don't come from the same place. So increasing this setting here will also help this background here. You can see we are having a smoother background than here. But let's take it back to where it was. Also now, if we try to increase this one while leaving these two settings like this, it will actually help to improve the noise in the specular and also in the diffuse. Let's try that and see. But the problem with this anti-aliasing settings is that it's really starts slowing your synth down a lot. So let's try something like 5 to see. Because whatever you do here, it multiplies everything here. So now that we have 5 here, so it's these settings here is like times 5. So you can see we are helping the noise here and also the noise here. So now what we can do is let's go back to this kind of, let's say leave it at 3, and let's shift here and let's try to see if we can reduce use the settings here to reduce the noise that we are seeing here. So what we can do is, I'm trying to get this anyway. Let's make a new one. So what we can see here is, let me create a region like so, something like this. Now this is more of the soft surface scattering. If we bring back our settings now, and if we try to increase this one, it's really not gonna have any effect here. If you increase this one as well, it might help, but nothing. But when we adjust this one here, let's take this one back to 3 and this one back to 3. You see, these two settings here is what will actually increase the quality of this. You can see our render here is looking a lot better now if you increase it. And also let's try to increase the transmission as well, and you see that everything here is getting a lot smooth. And I did not even touch this anti-aliasing, because once you touch this, your render time will skyrocket. Okay, because it's not just gonna increase the quality of this one, but it will multiply everything here, everything. Meanwhile, you're just trying to reduce the noise only on this side. So what we're gonna do now is, as you can see, this one has increased our quality here and everything is looking a lot better. So now let's take it back and let me show you another place that we have issues with noise. So what we can do now is the shadow noise. For the shadow noise, sometimes it's not just the diffuse, is also come from the light. So what we can do is, let's take a render here and I will show you how to manage shadow noise and some background noise a lot better. So you see, the this, we have this our shadow here. Let's try to see what kind of settings here that actually can help us with this background shadow noise. So let me grab this region again. I'm gonna include this one here because I have kind of a glossy material for this. So let's do something like that. Let's catch that area and render it to see. So let's bring our render settings. Let's try to increase the diffuse. Let's see how far it can go in reducing this kind of noise. You see, it's quite helping. It's helping, but you can see somewhere around here, we still have a lot of noise, but it's quite better than before. But we still don't have very good. You can call this actually. You can see when I zoom closer, you really can, you know, call this a good settings. So let's take it back, and I will show you. Let's leave it at 4 and also increase the specular. This specular will help with this base here, but it might not help so much on the background here because we don't have a lot of specular. You see, it did not even help so much. So how can we find where to adjust to be able to increase our quality here? So let's take this one back to the way it is, and now let's try our light samples. So to increase your light samples, you just need to select the source of your light, whichever one you're using. It doesn't matter. You just select the light itself, and you come to the samples here. You go to your attribute editor, and here you can begin to increase this sample. Let's put it at 5 to see how that is looking. You can see the problem here is the light, is our light samples. You can see it, this has improved a lot, and this as well has really improved. So you can see the guesswork here is not something that you want to be guessing and testing, and it takes, look, it's very frustrating. Nobody wants to do it, especially when your scene is so big. You don't want to, you know, increase and test. What if there is a way that you can know exactly where the problem is coming, each problem is coming? That's what I'm gonna show you in this video. You just have to stick around and see how I'm gonna show you where every material, every noise on every material that in your scene, where all that noise is coming from. That's what we're gonna take a look at right now. Again, here I have some kind of material here. Let's see, try another guesswork there to see if we can be able to increase our quality here. So let's get another general render here and see how we can, if we can find out exactly where to increase the quality of this, the material that we have here. You can see, because we have our light sample quite high like this, it has improved the quality here as well, but we are really our render time is really getting very it's increasing significantly. So you, in the beginning, when you are dealing with your scene, you actually don't want to have your light samples like this, which is why it's very important for you to see exactly which samples to increase when you are still working on your scene and testing it out. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna reduce the my samples to that, and then I will let's try another render region like this, and let's go back to our render settings. Let's see how we can increase, let's say increase our diffuse here. You see, not really enough help here. Let's take it back, and this one, increase it a little bit to see. You see, also not really not much of a help. Let's try our transmission. Let's crank this one a little bit more. Well, I think we are having some improved render here, improved quality on this, but not on this side. So let's take it back. Let's try SSS to see what it can do for us. I know it's gonna help with this one right here, but I'm not sure of how we can get it to work on this area. You see, here is helping, but not here. So now the question is, how can you find where this noise is coming from? My friends, this is where the secret I'm gonna show you in this video. You will thank me after watching this. So what we're gonna do now is, let's go back here and let me show you. Yeah, we've tried this one, which is our specular here. So now to find out, what I'm gonna do is, let me take a general render here so that I'm gonna show you exactly where to find where each noise is coming from. Okay. So I'm just gonna let this render to finish. I will pause the video and then I will show you when the render is finished. Okay, now when you have a scene like this, you need to start playing it smart. You need to start diagnosing it in a very smart way to know where the noise are coming from and everything. You don't want to go playing here, adjusting your settings, wasting your time. No, it's not a smart way to do it. Trust me, it's not a smart way. Don't do it. Don't do it. And you know, you can see we have our light samples here to set at 1. So the best way to find out the source of every single noise in your scene is using the AOVs in Maya. So now what you need to do is, you go to your render settings and you come to AOV. Now I'm gonna show you which AOVs to choose, the ones that are responsible for the noise. Okay, so what you need to do is, you need to scroll down till you see diffuse. You don't want to choose this diffuse here. You don't want to choose diffuse albedo. You want to choose diffuse direct and diffuse indirect. Now, why do you need to choose this one? Because diffuse direct tells you this your light samples, while diffuse indirect tells you the noise coming from your render settings. So what else do we need? We need specular. And again, you don't want to take specular because it combines the two together. So that's not what you want. You want specular direct and specular indirect. Then you want SSS. SSS, for this one, you can choose. This one, you don't need to choose direct and indirect because the noise for this one, when it comes to subsurface scattering, it comes from just one source. And the last one we need here is transmission. Transmission as well, you can take it from here. Okay, so I think that's all we need to be able to diagnose our scene. So what you need to do is you just click this and you add it. Once you add it, and now you can close this. And now when you click here, you will see that we have all that noise here. Okay, so what do we need to do? Let me allow this to render, to finish rendering, and then I will show you how to identify all the noise from different places. Okay, now our scene is set here. So what we need to do now is when you choose diffuse direct, you can see that the noise that we have at the background here and here and here and here is coming from the light, because diffuse direct, when you see the noise from this channel, you know that is your light samples. When you increase your light samples here, you will get rid of all this noise here, all this noise you see here. Sometimes the noise comes from not just one place but different places, different sources, but that also I'm gonna show you. Now if you select, and for this one that is black, this is to tell you that the noise that we had here has nothing to do with your light samples. So even if you increase your light samples, it's not going to help that much with the noise that we had here, here, and here, because there's no so much diffuse. This materials here doesn't have enough diffuse. So it doesn't really make any sense or difference if you have your increasing this one doesn't really help the noise here. Now if you come to diffuse indirect, you see the noise that we have here, we also had it from here as well. That means the noise in these places and here, they come from different sources, also here and also this background here. So that means indirect, diffuse indirect is to get rid of the noise that came from this. You need your this diffuse here, this diffuse settings. If you increase this one, then you will get rid of the noise that we see here and here. Again, I'm going to repeat that. The diffuse indirect, you get rid of it from this one right here, but diffuse direct, you get rid of it from the light sample. Okay, now the next thing we're going to look at is specular direct. Now you can see that the noise we have here come from specular direct, which is also your light samples and your render settings, your specular. But mostly when you have this one, you can see a lot of the noise that we see here actually coming from our this one right here. And again, we still this one and this one, and you know, and our light sample is not helping this one at all. we can crank these things up till like infinity. It's not gonna improve this, because there's no it's not appearing in these channels. So no matter what you do to these settings here, it's not gonna improve this one. So now let's go to SSS. Now you can see that this is showing, this one is showing, right? So is the noise from here that we had here only can be resolved by increasing this setting right here, SSS samples. Only this setting can resolve this light, this noise that we have here. It doesn't matter what else you do here or your light sample, is never gonna help you with this one. So let's check the next one. The last one we have is transmission, and you can see here your transmission, the noise that we had here is complicated because it's visible here, and here, and also in our light. So now this is how to identify where your noise is coming from. Okay, so now how can we improve our render? Let's go back to beauty, and then let's start by improving our diffuse, because you don't want to actually overdo the settings. You just want the actual amount of settings that will help to improve the noise that you are trying to get rid of. So for this one, what we can do right now is, let me grab this, and since this region is for this our light, so what we can do is, let's actually begin to crank this light quite a bit. Let's say 3 will be fine. You see, we are getting rid of that, and our light samples is really improving right now. Let's see what else that is contributing to the noise here. You can see we have it on our diffuse direct here. So let's increase it to like 5 and see how it's helping. Okay, so let's go back to the beauty. You see our channel here, our noise here is really going away, but I think we still have we still need to increase our light samples here. Let's put it at 5. You can see that is really getting better. Oh, here is getting a lot smoother, a lot smoother. Let's see again our indirect. Okay, let's try specular. We don't want to worry about this one for now. We don't have any specular here, but we have it around here, and this one, for some reason, it got some specular noise as well. Let's see our indirect. You see, we need to actually increase our indirect specular, which is actually this one right here. So let's also take it to 5 and see how is yeah, I see now our background here is getting a lot better, and here as well. And also this one is quite improving. So if we go back to our beauty, you can see that our scene is getting a lot cleaner. So what we are gonna do now is, let's check other channels. just going to, let's go to beauty here, and let's shoot another render to bring back our. So what we're gonna do now is let's increase the setting for our SSS here. Okay. You can see here the quality of the background and the shadow, and this one here is really looking very good, but this one right here and this one right here is still very grainy. Some people, they will go and, you know, start adjusting many things. It's here, by the time we increase this, our camera samples here, this anti-aliasing is gonna get a lot better. But you see, only diffuse and specular that we just increased, you see our scene is getting a lot smoother, but we still have this stubborn noise here, and that is because we have not increased our SSS. So some people, they will be frustrated. Why is this one happening? Everything is, you know, everything is clean. Only this one, and they keep cracking the lights here and anti-aliasing. And at the end of the day, their scene that was supposed to take like 10 minutes to render will take 2 to 3 hours, because it has happened to me while I was in the office. My render could not finish, and I have to leave the computer on, go home, come back the next day before it's rendered. And at the end of it, the noise still did not go away, because I cranked up this one so high, this 1 2 3, I cranked them up very high, and my render settings increased so much. So what we are gonna do now is, let me get my render region here, and let's click on that side and bring back our render settings. I'm gonna reduce this one, because you want to keep your test render as fast as possible. Since these two settings here is not affecting this, so it doesn't matter if we take it to 0 or 20, it's still never gonna affect it. Since this is the only one, and this one as well, transmission, because of the noise that we have here, is the only thing responsible for this noise here. So that's the only one that we need to concentrate on. So let's crank it up to like 8 and see what's gonna happen. You can see our noise is going away, and we still have problem here. So what we can do again is to crack this one up a little bit, and you can see that one also will start to improve. Now you may be asking, if all the noise are dissolved here and here, why don't we just increase everything here? The answer is no. You should not do that, because the reason why we are adjusting everything here is because the scene I have here, I try to include everything, every material that is connected to everything that we have here and this one. So this, which is why we have to, you know, come up and down here. But in many cases, you don't have SSS material in your scene, so the best thing to do is actually reduce this to like 0. You know, in many cases, reduce it to 0, or you leave it at 1, because if it is 1, even though when you increase this one, it's still gonna be 1. Okay, now, and this one, transmission, also sometimes we don't have anything, so we also just keep it at 1. And in most of the time you only have to adjust this one and this one. And for this one, this is when we have some fog effect, and so I didn't include that, so that's why I left it alone. So when you have a scene that has nothing to do with transmission or skin, that has some translucency to it, so you actually don't need to do anything with these two here. That is why in most of my scene, I just keep it at 1, because even this one, I just reduce it to 1, or sometimes I just leave it at 2. Okay, so you just need to deal with this and this one, like 95% of the time. You only need to deal with diffuse, specular, and your light sample here. That's all you need to deal with. All right, not even this one. But because I made the scene more complex, included everything, so that is why we are having to deal with these two here. But in most of the time, if you don't have anything like a skin or translucency or like a lampshade, you really don't need these two. So what we're gonna do now is I'm gonna increase this one to, I'll show you a good render settings that you can use in most of your rendering. I like to put this one at 4. I put this one at 4, and then I'll put the my camera, my anti-aliasing to like 5. All right, so because we have this one soft surface scattering, so what we're gonna do is let's make it around 3, and for transmission, let's increase that one as well to like 3. Okay, so this is a good settings that can serve you in most of your renders. And also you can have your diffuse here, just increase it just to make your scene brighter. Okay, and then I like to have my light samples something like between 5 and 8. So let's try something like 7. And with these settings, let's try to, let's reduce that one here, leave it at 5. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna take another render and let's see how the scene looks like. So I'm gonna remove this one and update the full scene, and then let's see how our render is gonna look like. I'm gonna pause the video, and because you don't want to watch this going on here, so I'll pause the video because it's gonna take a long time. Depends on the speed of your computer. So let me pause it, and I'll be back when the render is finished. So you can see the render has really improved. See, I think I'm happy with here, but not so much around here, but we're still having problem around here. So I think this area is looking quite okay, and our diffuse here is fine. So what we can do is, and this is again the beauty of having to identify where to increase, what to adjust to get rid of the noise. So one thing I'm gonna do right now is I'm going to, let's choose a render region here, and I'm gonna deal with here. I want to know how much of this setting that I need to adjust to be able to get a better quality here. So what I'm gonna do is increase. So now that I know where the noise that I'm having here, where it's coming from, so I can only come in and adjust only that that setting. So let me zoom here a little bit so we can see. You can see this is 5, this is 3. You can see the difference is there. Maybe I can also increase this one a little bit to see how much it can help. So because we don't really have any, we are dealing with this one right now, we don't need to have this one set so high like this. So let me see if I make this one 6. Since I know these ones here, I can deal with them right here. So I just want to know how much of this that I need to be able to get rid of my noise here. See, it's now getting a lot, but how much is this one contributing? Let me take it back to see. See, not quite. So I'm just gonna leave it at something like 3 and keep this one at 6. And again, I will like to check everything once again to know, to see what is where my, let me leave it like this, like so. So let me shoot another render here. I think that was too much. Oh, okay, we're here. So with the render like this, I just want to find out again where we need, just want to eyeball it. I think our specular is really good enough. We may not want to increase it so much like the diffuse. So I think we can actually keep this one relatively low, maybe like 3. You can see at 3 the light is already helping it a lot, so we might not have to increase this one so high. So we might even leave it as it is, or just keep it 3 and make this one to be 4. See, so this is the beauty of using these AOVs to diagnose your this one is sorry, this one we need to increase our samples here because it's for indirect. Okay, so and let's see this one. I think this one we need to increase it, and for, let me see, SSS, only this one, and transmission. Okay, this one has some transmission, so we need to increase on that one to be able to get a better quality here. So now with this, what we're gonna do now is we're gonna put in our final settings here. So this one I'm gonna have at 4. This transmission at 4. Let me see how it looks like actually. I think this is good enough, so we're gonna leave it like that. So now what we can do is we're gonna leave this one at 3, and this one since it needs 4, actually it's okay. So but maybe put it at 5 will be fine. This one, let's keep it at 4, and for this one, diffuse, let me see how it's like. Yeah, this one we need to increase it quite. So for this one, yeah, leave it at 5, and then I think this setting should be just fine. I think we'll be good to go with this one. Maybe to make it to be on the safer side, let's put this one at 6 and increase this one to as well to be 6. So this is gonna be our final render. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna shoot a render, and then when I come back, when it's finished, I will show you how it really looks. Okay, so stick around while I shoot the render. So the render has finished. As you can see how everything is looking very smooth and nice. You can see that. You see our, so this, we made the right settings in the right places, but this time, if you notice, as you can see, I have to adjust most of the my settings here, and that's because of the nature of the scene. Like I told you before, you don't need to adjust everything. You just need to use the AOVs, identify where you have problems with noise, and adjust only that particular place. You don't have to adjust everything, because you can see it takes about 8 minutes to render. So if I didn't have SSS here, and this setting were to be like 1 or 2, this timing here would have been reduced by half. Okay, and you see this is a very simple scene. Can you imagine if you had this in like an interior design where you have so many other things, and this is just a light in a corner? This, from this 8 minutes, we'll be talking about 8 hours. Okay, so this is how you use the AOV to identify the places you have problem, and you can deal with those places specifically. You know, you don't have to keep adjusting everything. I hope you like this video. Please let me know what you think in the comment section, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel. We will be giving you very many more useful videos like this. Subscribe and give it a thumbs up, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you, and bye bye.